Welcome back to the channel. Today, we are going to talk about a very interesting and historic Australian coin, the 1967 Australia 20 cents coin, especially one that is in very fine condition. Many people have this coin in their collections or sometimes even discover it in old coin jars, and they often wonder what its value might be today. In this video, we will explore the history of the coin, its condition, its background, and composition, the demand among collectors, the current market value, and some helpful tips for collectors who may want to keep or sell this coin in the future. Let's start by talking about the history of the 1967 Australian 20 cents coin. Australia officially changed to the decimal currency system on 14 February 1966. Ampere's historic event known as Decimal Mile Day. Before this the country used pounds, shillings, and pence. When the decimal system was introduced, new coins such as these were released to the public. The 1967 20-cent coin was part of the early years of this new decimal currency, which makes it an important piece of Australian monetary history. The coin features the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse side, designed by Arnold Machine. This portrait was widely used on many Commonwealth coins during that era, and represents the connection between Australia and the British monarchy. On the reverse side, the coin shows a beautifully detailed platypus, designed by Stuart Devlin. The platypus is one of Australia's most unique native animals, and it has become an iconic symbol on the Australian 20-cent coin. Now let's talk about the condition of the coin, especially the very fine condition. In coin grading, very fine means the coin has been circulated but still retains a good amount of detail. The major design elements, such as the platypus and the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, are still clearly visible, although some moderate wear can be seen on the high points of the design. The edges may show slight smoothing from circulation, but the coin still maintains its recognizable shape and original features. A 1967 20-cent coin in very fine condition is considered respectable for collectors, especially if the coin has not been cleaned or damaged. Moving on to the background and composition of this coin, the 1967 Australian 20-cent coin is made from cupronickel, which is a metal alloy consisting of 75% copper and 25% nickel. This composition makes the coin durable and resistant to corrosion, which is why many of these coins have survived in good condition even after decades of circulation. The coin weighs and has a diameter giving it a solid and recognizable feel. One interesting feature of the Australian 20-cent coin is that it has a round shape with a smooth edge, which distinguishes it from some other coins that have ridged edges. When we talk about collector demand, the 1967 Australian 20-cent coin has a steady place in the coin collecting community. While it is not considered extremely rare because millions were minted, it is still popular among collectors who want to build a complete set of Australian decimal coins. Coins from the 1966 are especially appealing because they represent the early period of Australia's modern currency system. Collectors often look for coins that are in better condition, such as very fine, extremely fine, or uncirculated. As a result, coins that have been preserved well over time are always appreciated by collectors and can sometimes command higher prices than average circulated examples. Now let's talk about the current market value of the 1967 Australian 20-cent coin in very fine condition. In today's coin market, the value of this coin usually ranges between $2.10,000 to $1.40,000 Australian dollars, depending on its exact condition, eye appeal, and where it is being sold. If the coin is closer to extremely fine condition or has particularly strong detail, collectors might be willing to pay slightly more. On online marketplaces, coin shops, and auctions, you may sometimes see similar coins selling for around $3 to $48,000 or $75,000 Australian dollars, especially when they are well preserved. Although the coin's value is not extremely high, it still holds historical significance and is an interesting piece for collectors of Australian currency. For collectors who own or want to collect the 1967 Australian 20-cent coin, there are a few positive tips that can help protect and possibly increase the value of the coin over time. One of the most important things is to avoid cleaning the coin, because cleaning can damage the original surface and reduce its collector value. It is also a good idea to store the coin in a protective holder, such as a coin capsule, flip, or album. This helps protect it from scratches, moisture, and environmental damage. Learning about coin grading is another useful step because understanding the difference between conditions like very fine, extremely fine, and uncirculated can help collectors make better decisions when buying or selling coins. Another helpful tip is to keep an eye on coin markets and collector communities. Sometimes the interest in certain coins can grow over time, especially when new collectors begin building sets of older decimal coins. Even coins that seem common today may become more appreciated in the future as people become more interested in historical currency. As we come to the conclusion of this video, the 1967 Australian 20-cent coin is a meaningful piece of Australia's early decimal currency era. Its iconic platypus design, connection to the history of decimalization, and durable cupronickel composition make it a memorable coin for collectors. Even though its value in very fine condition is usually only a few dollars, the coin still represents an important moment in Australia's monetary history and remains a popular addition to many coin collections. Next up, today we are going to talk about a very interesting coin that many people may already have in their collections or even in their old coin jars. The coin we are discussing today is the 1999 Australian 20-cent coin, especially the one that shows a rust green tone but is still in fine condition. Many collectors are curious about whether this coin has any value in today's market, and the answer may surprise you. So stay with me as we explore the history of the coin, its design and composition, the demand among collectors, its current market value, and some helpful tips for coin collectors. Before we talk about the price, let us first understand the background of this coin. The Australian 20-cent coin was first introduced in 1966, the same year Australia changed to the decimal currency system. Since then, the coin has been produced for many years with a similar design. The 1999 issue is one of the commonly circulated coins that many people still find today. Even though it is a circulating coin, collectors often look for certain conditions, colors, and preservation levels that make a coin more interesting. The front side of the coin features the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, which was designed by Ian Rank Broadley. This portrait was used on many Australian coins during the late 1990s and early 2000s. Around the portrait, you can read the inscription Elizabeth II, along with Australia, and the year 1999. The back side of the coin shows the famous platypus design created by Stuart Devlin. The platypus is a unique animal native to Australia, and it has been the symbol used on the 20-cent coin for decades. The artistic detail of the platypus swimming in water makes this coin visually attractive, even for beginner collectors. Now let's talk about the condition of the coin, especially when people describe it as having a rust green color. The Australian 20-cent coin is not actually made from copper or bronze. Instead, it is made from a cupronickel alloy, which is a mixture of 75% copper and 25% nickel. Because of this metal combination, the coin normally appears silver in color. However, over time, coins that stay in humid environments, soil, or certain chemical conditions can develop a greenish or rusty tone. This happens due to oxidation of the copper content in the alloy. When collectors say a coin is in fine condition, they mean the coin still has visible design details, even though it may show some wear from circulation. The platypus, lettering, and the portrait should still be clearly recognizable. A rust green tone does not always mean the coin is damaged. Sometimes it simply shows natural aging. Some collectors actually find toned coins interesting because they show a unique appearance created by time. Another important aspect of this coin is its size and shape. The Australian 20-cent coin is round and relatively large compared to many other coins. It has a diameter of about the edge of the coin is smooth rather than reeded. Because of its size and weight, it is easy to identify even without closely looking at the design. Now let us move to one of the most exciting parts of this discussion, which is collector demand. In general, The 1999 Australian 20-cent coin was produced in large numbers, so it is not considered a rare coin. Millions of these coins were minted and circulated across Australia. However, coin collectors often search for specific varieties, error coins, or coins that remain in excellent condition. Even common coins can gain attention if they show unusual coloring, mint errors, or if they are preserved extremely well. For coins with a rust green tone in fine condition, the demand usually comes from beginner collectors or people who enjoy collecting toned coins. While such coins are not extremely rare, they can still have small collectible value depending on their appearance. If the toning is natural and the details of the coin are still visible, some collectors may be interested in adding it to their collection as an example of circulated Australian coinage. Now we come to the current market value. Because the 1999 Australian 20-cent coin is a circulating coin with a high mintage when it is in average circulated condition. In today's coin market, a typical 1999 Australian 20-cent coin in fine condition may sell for around $120,000 to $130,000 Australian dollar, depending on its appearance and collector interest. If the coin has attractive natural toning, some collectors may pay slightly more, sometimes around $175,000 to $348,000 Australian dollars, especially if the coin looks unique. However, it is important to understand that most coins with heavy corrosion or environmental damage may not have extra value beyond their. The condition of the coin always plays a very important role in determining its price. Coins that are cleaner, have clear details, and show interesting toning usually attract more attention from collectors. For anyone who is interested in collecting coins like this, there are a few helpful ideas to keep in mind. First, always try to store your coins properly. Keeping coins in coin holders, albums, or protective capsules can prevent further damage and preserve their condition. Second, avoid cleaning coins with chemicals or rough materials. Cleaning can remove the natural surface of the coin and actually reduce its collector value. Many experienced collectors prefer coins that remain in their original state, even if they show natural aging. Another helpful tip is to learn about mint errors and varieties. Sometimes coins from common years can become valuable if they contain a striking error or unusual feature. Looking closely at your coins with a magnifying glass can reveal interesting details that might otherwise go unnoticed. Joining coin collecting communities or online forums can also help you learn from other collectors and stay updated on market trends. It is also a good idea to compare your coin with recently sold examples on coin marketplaces. This can give you a better understanding of what collectors are currently willing to pay. The coin market changes over time, and sometimes demand increases for certain coins when collectors begin searching for them more actively. As we reach the end of this discussion, it is clear that the 1999 Australian 20-cent coin with rust green toning in fine condition is not considered a rare coin, but it still holds value as part of Australia's circulating coin history. Its beautiful platypus design, large size, and connection to the decimal currency system make it an interesting piece for collectors. While its market value today is generally between a few cents and a few dollars, the real value often lies in the enjoyment of collecting and learning about coins. Coin collecting is a hobby that connects people with history, art, and culture. Even common coins can tell fascinating stories about the time and place in which they were produced. If you happen to find a 1999 Australian 20-cent coin in your collection, take a moment to appreciate its design and the journey it may have taken through many hands over the years. Next up, today we are going to talk about a very interesting coin that many people may have seen in their pockets, but may not realize could be collectible. The coin we are discussing today is the Australian 20-cent coin from the year 2004, especially the ones that appear rust brown in color and are in fine condition. Many collectors and beginners often ask about the value of such coins and whether they are worth keeping. In this video, we will explore the history of this coin, its background and composition, the demand among collectors, the current market value in dollars, and also share some helpful tips for collectors. Let's begin with a little history behind this coin. The Australian 20-cent coin has been part of Australia's decimal currency system since 1966, when the country changed from pounds and shillings to dollars and cents. Since that time, the 20-cent coin has remained one of the most widely used denominations in everyday transactions across the country. The 2004 version of this coin was produced by the Royal Australian Mint, which is responsible for manufacturing the country's official coins. Millions of these coins were minted for circulation in 2004, which means they are not considered extremely rare. However, collectors often look closely at coins from regular circulation because unique conditions, toning, or unusual appearances can make them more interesting. Now let's talk about the appearance and condition of this coin, especially the rust brown color that many people notice. Normally, the Australian 20-cent coin has a shiny silver color because of the metal used in its production. Over time, however, coins can change color due to oxidation, environmental exposure, or years of circulation. When collectors describe a coin as being in fine condition, they mean that the coin still shows clear details in the design, although it may have noticeable wear from use. The rust brown tone you sometimes see on a 2004 Australian 20-cent coin is usually a result of natural toning rather than actual rust, since the coin does not contain iron. Some collectors actually appreciate natural toning because it gives the coin a unique appearance and shows that it has aged naturally over time. Looking at the background and composition of the coin helps explain why it looks the way it does. The Australian 20-cent coin is made from cupronickel, which is a mixture of copper and nickel. This composition typically contains about 75% copper and 25% nickel. The copper element in the alloy can sometimes react with the environment, leading to darker or brownish toning on the surface of the coin. On the reverse side of the coin, you will see the famous platypus design, one of Australia's most recognizable animals, which has been featured on the 20-cent coin since decimalization. On the obverse side, the coin traditionally features the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by one of the official royal portrait artists used on Australian currency during that period. When it comes to collector demand, coins like the 2004 Australian 20-cent piece usually attract beginner collectors, coin roll hunters, and people interested in building a complete year-by-year set of Australian decimal coins. Because the mintage numbers for 2004 were fairly high, the coin itself is not considered rare in normal circulated condition. However, collectors sometimes pay more attention to coins that have unusual toning, strong detail, or particularly attractive surfaces. A rust-brown toned coin in fine condition may stand out in a collection simply because it looks different from the typical silver-colored examples. Some collectors also enjoy studying toned coins because the colors can tell a story about the coin's storage history and environment. Now let's talk about the part everyone is most curious about, the current market value. In normal circulated condition, a standard 2004 Australian 20-cent coin generally holds a value close to its of 30,000 Australian dollars. However, in the collector market, coins in fine condition can sometimes sell for a little more, especially if the coin has attractive toning or is part of a bulk lot for collectors. Typically, such coins might sell in the range of 50,000 to 75,000 Australian dollar, depending on their appearance and where they are sold. If the coin were in much higher condition, such as uncirculated or mint state, it could sometimes reach a slightly higher collector price. But a rust-brown toned coin in fine condition usually falls into the lower collector value range, while still being interesting for hobbyists. For collectors and beginners, there are some important tips to keep in mind when dealing with coins like this. The first thing is to always examine the coin carefully under good lighting to see the true condition and surface details. Natural toning can add character to a coin, but cleaning the coin is never recommended because cleaning can damage the surface and reduce collector value. It is also a good idea to store coins in protective holders or coin albums to prevent further environmental damage. Collectors who enjoy Australian coins often keep examples from each year, so even common coins like the 2004 20-cent piece can become part of a meaningful collection over time. Another helpful tip is to check coin catalogs, collector forums, and recent online sales to get a realistic idea of current market prices. As we come toward the end of this video, it is important to remember that coin collecting is not only about finding extremely rare coins. Sometimes the real joy of the hobby comes from learning the history behind everyday coins and discovering how they change over time. The 2004 Australian 20-cent rust-brown toned coin in fine condition may not be one of the most valuable coins in the world, but it still tells an interesting story about circulation, metal composition, and the journey a coin can take over many years. In conclusion, the Australian 20-cent coin from 2004 is a common yet fascinating piece of Australia's decimal currency. Its cupronickel composition, the iconic platypus design, and the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II connect it to the long tradition of Australian coinage. When such a coin develops a rust-brown toned appearance and remains in fine condition, it can attract the curiosity of collectors and hobbyists. While the typical market value today is usually between 20 cents and about $1, the real value for many collectors lies in the enjoyment of preserving and studying coins like this.